what's up, Tommy Temper Nation? Good to see you all. Welcome back to the Tommy Temper Show. Hey, the Rost, no BS news and commentary show on the YouTube where we don't sugarcoat a damn thing. I'm your host. Hey, Tommy Temper, coming to you live from the front lines of chaos in 2026. This is where all the action is down here on the Tommy Temper Show. Love to see you all in the chat and enjoying the day here today. Lots of action happening. There's no doubt about that. Hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button if you're already raging with me, and drop a little fire emoji in the chat if you're ready to temper this madness. We're going in deep today, folks, so no corporate filters, no spin, just straight truth with the side of unfiltered Tommy Temper. Hey, good to see you all in there. Pat Pfeiffer in there in the chat and everyone else in there. Good to see you all. Breaking. This is the 5-day ultimatum for Iran. You've got President Donald Trump. He just dropped a bombshell after using that aggressive 48-hour deadline over the Strait of Hormuz. He's now hit the pause button. Hey, it was 48 hours to open up that strait, and now he's like lengthened it to a 5-day window, which I think ends on Saturdays. So be prepared for what's happening. Now, is something actually going to happen? Is Iran going to capitulate, or is Trump going to get boots on the ground? There's apparently 5,000 soldiers ready, sitting, waiting, and are they going to embark on some kind of a ground boots on the ground invasion of Iran? We don't know for sure, but we'll get that figured out. But there's a 5-day window, and it's going to be getting serious about the talks or face the full wrath of the power plants and energy infrastructure. He's going to decimate all of that. Trump says that we've had a good and productive conversation, and conversations are ongoing. Is that what's happening? But we're hearing in the background that there are no conversations going. Is that true or not? I don't know. But I guess we'll find out by Saturday. Is this all just a big ploy to delay to get things in order so that Trump can actually invade Iran? Iran is denying it left and right, calling it fake news, but the clock is ticking. Where's Trump? We need Trump in here with his fake news. We need the fake news. Trump, where are you? Where's that fake news? Here we go. Trump.
Fake news. Fake news. You are fake news.
It's fake.
Fake news. Fake news.
Can't believe anything that's happening, especially on the mainstream media. And I know that's why you're watching us here today, because you want better. You want better than those the mainstream media with the fake news. We're talking war, tensions exploding in the Middle East. Israel is pounding targets. Iran is threatening to turn oil into $200 a barrel. That's going to affect you when you go into the pump and you want to gas up. And you've seen my videos out there where I've posted videos about how the pumps have jacked up the price already. Even here in oil-rich Alberta, where we've got tons and tons of oil, and we're paying through the nose for oil here right now. Unbelievable. Attacks on shipping, missiles are flying. This isn't just saber rattling anymore. The Strait of Hormuz is the juggler of the global energy. One wrong move and the world's oil supply is going to get choked right out. Your gas prices, they're skyrocketing. Your grocery bill, skyrocketing. You're about to feel it. The stock market's nervous in hell. Wow. And right in the middle of it, oil and gas chaos. We're seeing strikes on Iranian facilities, disruptions in the Gulf, and here at home in Canada, where I live, it's hitting hard. Alberta's oil patch is watching this like hawks because of the Middle East sneezes, and our energy sector catches pneumonia, or boom, depending on how it plays out. Wow, yeah, and we've got plenty of oil here, but we don't have pipes. There's no pipes. The stupid Carney government here in Canada doesn't want to have us build a pipeline. It's like, no, we're not going to do that. No, you guys have to sequester carbon. You have to capture carbon out of the air and feed it into the ground, and you're going to have to pay billions to do that, and you're going to need to do that before we'll allow you to build any kind of a pipeline. No more oil tankers on the coast of Canada. We can't supply oil to the world at all. We've got actually pipelines built already to the States. The Keystone Pipeline is already built. But when Biden got in, he canceled the Keystone pipeline. So it ended up right at the border, and there's no more pipeline. You guys in the States need to get that pipeline, that Keystone pipeline, back going again so we can ship more oil down there. Make sure that you guys in the States have lots of oil. Okay? We can do it. Trump's been talking about really tough on tariffs, pipelines, and making deals. Alberta's premier is being in the mix, and there's chatter about reviving the Keystone XL. Vibes or new export routes. How does this Iran mess ripple straight through the Canadian crude? We're breaking it all down here today. Hey, so good to see you in the chat. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We've got a action-packed show here for you. And by the way, later on tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock our Mountain Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, we're going to be firing up again here with a panel stream, so you can get on the panel and we can talk about all this kind of stuff, along with our good friend Spin City News. He's going to be originating the cast, and we'll be casting it here on the Tommy Temper channel, so look forward to that. As well, we've got the bit on the Air Canada. Look at what's happening with Air Canada, where they landed in LaGuardia Airport and hit that fire truck. That whole thing is blowing up all over the place. You've got 2 pilots that died in there. You've got investigations going on with that whole thing. Speaking of the Air Canada thing, and you know what? Up here in Canada, it's actually exploding to the leader, the boss of Air Canada, got on national television, and he gave condolences, which I do as well. Sorry to hear that whole thing happened. But the drama has exploded to the fact that he only gave the condolences in English. Oh my God. And you've got this French language stuff, and the French are all pissed off that he didn't give it in French. He only gave condolences to the pilots in English. And really, it's crazy. Air Canada drama is not letting up. Whether it's flight delays, safety questions, or whatever fresh hell is hitting the skies, we're keeping an eye on it. How this global instability is messing with travel and supply chains. And yes, we've got our good friend. The other thing on the go here right now is our friend Charles Veitch. I don't know if you watch Charlie Veitch at all, but if you're tuned into his channel, you know that he's got something going on there with Ratboy, and we'll play a little video here of his interaction with Ratboy. But apparently, Ratboy was out on the street there, whatever, and he, Charles Veitch does, videos of places, different cities in England and stuff like that. So he's over in this center of Newark, a place or a city in the UK called Newark, and up comes a guy by the name of Ratboy and threatens Charles Veitch and stuff like that. And then at the end of it, after the video, Ratboy goes and contacts YouTube and tells them to take the video down because of privacy. Oh, come on, give me a bullshit on that. It's like, if you're out in public, expect to be on video. You're on video all over the place, and somebody does a video of you, well, there you go. Yeah. Chat's talking about Ron Volts, R.I.P. Ron Volts. I don't know if that's the correct Ron Volts or not, but we did hear that somebody by the name of Ron Volts died. Condolences to him, if that's our Ron Volts that was in our chat for the longest time. Sorry to hear about Ron Volts. That's an absolute atrocity that happened. I was wondering what happened to him, so maybe he did die, but we should, if he didn't, well, maybe Ron Volts would come back in here and say so, but we didn't hear about that. But anyways, with Charles Veitch, if you tuned in for that whole thing, that angle, or the wild stories around him, we'll touch on the latest, because nothing. Woohoo! Scumdog! Thanks a lot. Big membership from Scumdog here. Member for 6 months. Thanks a lot for that donation to the chat. We really appreciate that, Scumdog. You're a big supporter of a lot of channels out there. Donate to a lot of channels. Membership, hit that membership button, or don't forget to donate a little bit to the channel. We've got some things on the stream here that give you ketos when you do sign up or give us a little donation or something. So thanks a lot for that. We've got that memorandum of understanding up here in Canada. What that's all about is that the Canadian federal government came up with this memorandum of understanding to build a pipeline from Alberta to the west coast, okay? And it was like, Alberta has to increase taxes, carbon taxes, and sequester, and blah 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 blah. Do all these things, whatever. And Carney was going to, instigate the building of a pipeline. But that deal had some conditions that actually had a time limit on it. The time came up, and the thing is now like whatever in the tank. It's not happening. The memorandum of understanding, backroom energy deals, potential alliances shifting because of this war. It's all connected, folks. Trump is playing 4D chess while the world holds its breath. Iran will fold in these 5 days. Will it fold? We don't know. We'll see. Will we see a deal, or will we see escalation or de-escalation? I don't know. Oil executives are already warning of worse energy crises ahead. And let me just do a quick check here to see where oil is right now. $90 WTI crude right now at this moment, $90. So it did drop a little bit from the high 90s down to 90 for whatever reason. It was when Trump announced a 5-day, we'll just wait a little bit and see what happens. But, whenever Trump talks, we see that price of oil either go up or down by about $10 here right now. So pretty wild what's actually happening with the price of oil. And we're seeing at the pumps, the last time I gassed up, it was like $1.55 a liter, which before this whole thing happened, it was like maybe $1.14, something like that. So it's gone up probably about 40 to 50 cents a liter since this war started right here in Canada, where I live, where I'm sitting right on top of all of the oil wells. I'll show you what it looks like here right where I live. We'll just give a different video on here. Hang on. Go into studio mode here and just get the oil pumps in here. Here we go. This is what it looks like. Right out, just whatever, a little ways down the road from where I live here in Edmonton or Sylvan Lake. These are the pumps. I shot this video. This is what it actually looks like here in Canada. We're pumping oil like crazy. So why the price of oil is going up here? Well, it's connected to the price of oil. I did a video on this whole thing saying that we got to cut back on the federal tax. We got to cut back on the carbon taxes that are attached to this thing. I don't care what you want to call them. They're little extra taxes that we don't need to pay. And then on top of that, we've got our GST, which is taxing all the taxes. And we've got our provincial tax of about, 10% or something like that. It varies a little bit. I heard it was 9%, then I heard it was 12%, whatever. But you got about that much in provincial taxes on here. Carbon taxes, all kind of crap like that. We're paying too much in taxes, and everyone is, myself, hey, whatever, I'm paying the bill, whatever, but I'm complaining for the little guy. There's lots of people out there that can barely survive. They can barely buy food. They're heading out to the food bank to buy food and crap like that. It's just absolute ridiculousness as far as being able to survive in this country. Canada is pretty bad here. It's pretty bad. Let me get me centered a little bit here. Let me get the studio globe back in here again. Here we go. Yeah. Leave me in here. Yeah. Okay. So, it's not a good thing. This MOU that was signed up with Alberta is basically a piece of toilet paper, and you can wipe your ass with it, as far as I'm concerned. I don't believe anything that Carney says. All he wants is tax. He wants to take carbon out of the atmosphere and somehow put it into the ground, right? Which, of course, is going to be bad for the ground. It's bad for the environment that we live in. It doesn't matter whether it's in the ground or in the atmosphere. It's plain just bad. So why spend billions and billions and billions of dollars for carbon capture when all you need to do is plant some trees? Why not plant some trees if you want to do anything at all? No, but they canceled the tree planting program in Canada, and they're trying to spend billions of my money, because where the hell are they getting this money for, to build these plants? Well, it's to tax the corporations, right? And which, of course, the corporations pass that tax on to the little guy like you and I. We all pay for this kind of bullshit. You're lucky they live in the States. At least Trump is smart enough to say, F the climate change bullshit, F the net zero, and carbon taxes and all kind of bullshit like that. They still have stuff like that in California, and that's part of the reason that you guys in California, you liberals in California, are just paying through your nose in taxes, okay? Because, oh, you got to save the planet. And then they give the this money that they collect in carbon taxes to like some kind of a world bank that ends up just blowing it on who knows what. They have zero accountability on anything. It's all just a bunch of bullshit, and we're sick and tired of it, But anyways, oil executives are already warning of worse energy crises ahead with higher prices on gas. I'm talking about liquefied gas. We also are hearing that in Australia, they're running low on oil supplies. There are actual lack of gas at gas stations, okay? And that they are actually stopping driving 1 day per week. So they're going to designate a particular day. I haven't heard exactly how they're going to do this, but 1 day a week, they're going to stop people from driving because they don't have enough oil. They don't have enough oil at their gas stations, gas at the gas stations, right? And I actually went through this because the last time we had an energy crunch, I happened to be in Italy at the time, okay? And when I was in Italy, it was like, this is the way it worked. You were only able to drive every second day, okay? This is how bad it got on the last oil crunch, gas crunch, when prices went up like crazy, and there was a big thing that happened back in the 70s. So the way it worked is that the last digit of your license plate, if it was odd, you could drive on an odd day, and if the last digit of your license plate was even, then you could drive on an even day. And of course, all the plates over there had numbers, right? And so, you had either an odd or an even number on your license plate. So that's how they developed a system so that, and if you were caught driving, on an even day and the last number on your plate was odd, then you'd get a huge fine. I forget what the fine was there now, but like $1,000 fine or something like that for driving on a day when you shouldn't be driving. And really, if this oil crunch gets to be that bad and there's not enough oil, now, of course, in the United States and Canada, we're in pretty good shape because, you guys in the States, you've got a lot of oil. You've been fracking, drilling, and drill, baby, drill. That whole thing has been going strong. Smart Trump on that. In Canada, at least where I live, on the western part of Canada, we've got more than enough oil for ourselves and more than enough oil to supply literally millions of barrels a day down to the States. We've got about 800 million that we're sending in a pipeline down to the West Coast right now. They're using it in the refineries in the West Coast, and then we're also shipping a little bit of that on the ships out on the ocean there. So we're shipping it, I don't know where, to either China or India or someplace like that. So we're not likely going to be lining up at gas stations here in Alberta or driving every second day. But other countries like Europe, like all of Europe, is really, really, part of this whole thing of why the ships aren't, shipping any oil from the Middle East to them, or places like India or China, or like I say, Australia is already hit with the shortage of oil, and lots and lots of other small countries all over the place are not going to have oil, and they're going to be really rationing oil and or doing stuff like drive every second day, or drive you can't drive 1 day out of the week, or all kind of stuff like that. So we'll see how that all plays through. Yeah, hit that sub button and sub up to the channel, and give us a like, give us a thumbs up if you can, if you like what you're listening to. Let's see. This is getting worse. The whole world is getting worse, and you're part of it, and we're going to give you the worst of it here. Don't listen to that mainstream media, because they're lefty as hell, and you can't believe anything that they say, and we're going to be pulling stuff out here that you're not going to hear from other places. Yeah, that's about it. So but there's where I come from with the temper. Yeah, I'm not here to read the teleprompters or to parrot mainstream talking points as I read my teleprompter. But we're cutting through the noise. Is Trump bluffing or is he brilliant? Is Iran playing for time or ready to blow up the religion? Not the religion, the region. How bad is this for Alberta oil workers, Canadian families, and everyday people watching the heating bills climb? You guys in the States, you're paying higher oil prices, even though you've got plenty of oil. This whole business of, let's just have our local gas station peg their price of oil based on world oil prices, and this world oil price could go up or down at any moment in time, and you're going to pay through the nose at the pumps. It's crazy. The chat is open. We're looking at the chat there. I want to hear from you. Drop your hottest takes on the live chat there right now. Team Trump or Team Skeptic on the Iran deal? What's going on? How's this hitting your province or state right now? Are you paying through the nose for gas? Are you happy where you're going? How much are you paying in gas right now, wherever you are? Alberta independence is also the big thing. Alberta independence, as you well know, I'm like big on Alberta independence. We're pissed off with Canada, pissed off of all this. You can't do anything with your oil. We're going to tell you what to do. You can't build a pipeline. We're not going to have tankers ship anything anywhere. And you guys have to take your carbon out of the air, build plants for billions of dollars, and pump that gas into the ground. And we all know that CO2 is a real harmful thing when it's in huge quantities. You could have it's like a floating thing if it's ever released, and will just kill you. It's like crazy. What about the Air Canada horror stories there with the whole thing at LaGuardia? You were starting to hear from whatever is going on. You had apparently 2 air controllers. Now, this is interesting because I used to work at the international airport here in Edmonton, and I got to see the fire department. I got to be on the ground on the runways. Got to go on to the those things that they load the passengers onto the airplane there, deep into the thing, looking at the baggage carrying areas underneath the airport, all over. I had access to the entire. Anywhere on the airport I could go, I had that. So I know exactly how it works. I've been up in the ground control and also the air control to see how that whole thing works. The big room that's filled with tons of people, and they're talking to the airplanes. They're talking to the ground things like the fire department and all kind of stuff like that. They transmit on 2 different frequencies on their radios. In other words, when they talk to the guy in the fire truck, he's on a complete different frequency on his radio than when they talk to the airplanes that are landing. So the guy that's in the fire truck, he doesn't hear the communication going on, and he doesn't hear that hey, they just gave clearance to Joe Blow in the airplane to land on runway number 4. Meanwhile, the fire truck is asking for the okay to cross runway number 4. So there's like a lack of things going on there because they're on 2 completely different frequencies. So they're relying on the air traffic controller that is basically able to talk to both of those people to have his common sense onto whether or not some truck should be crossing the runway or not. So yeah, it's a strange thing that's going on with that whole thing. And then you have that it's late at night, and you've got the air traffic controllers are maybe tired or something like that, and the whole airplane, or sorry, the airport has had some problems with that in the past, where they have been called out for stuff that's gone wrong there. So whatever, it's pretty crazy out there. 12th man in the chat. We got CJ in the chat. Good to see you, Rad, in there. Good to see everyone in there in the chat. Looking good. I'll be reading and responding to the best ones throughout the show of what's going on here. We've got, what about the predictions for the next 5 days for what's happening with over in Iran and with Trump and the military? What's going to be happening? What are your predictions for the next 5 days? What's going to be happening by time Saturday hits? Do you think that Trump is going to just go boots on the ground at that moment in time because he's basically getting time to set up with the military to take boots on the ground and just go move in and get rid of the regime in Iran. Personally, I think that's what Trump is up to. I think that what'll happen is after the markets close on Friday, that's when things are going to really, the shit is going to hit the fan at that moment in time. And Trump is going to go, okay, that's it, boots on the ground, and move in there militarily and get rid of that Islamic regime once and for all. And make sure that they're not the ones that are running the country, that are massacring the people. Okay, there you go. We've got deep dives coming up, analysis of the Iran war, oil price impacts, Trump strategy, Canadian energy ties, and whatever else is breaking in real time. We're not holding back. No safe takes, just pure unfiltered discussion. And if you love news, that's exactly what matters. Raw opinions and me, a host that tells it like it is. You're in the right place. And good to see you. Yeah, we've got a slightly different format for the show here. And we're going to be having a shorter show with more emphasis, more cutting to the chase, less bullshit, and we're just going to be going hard on this whole thing. That's the way it works. Okay, Temper Nation, buckle up. We're going in deep. Every point from today's firestorm. No fluff, no mainstream spin, just the raw, unfiltered truth with my signature. Temper, analysis. These are full segments you can drop straight into on the show. I've timed them for impact, and let's get them going with passion. Pause for chat reactions and watch in the comments and see if everything explodes in the comments there. Good to see everyone. Chef is in there. We got lots of people. ABD is in there. Good to see everyone. Hey, big to see you. Let's go over this 5-day ultimatum for Iran. Trump's high-stakes pause in the Middle East war. So we've got President Donald Trump. He dropped a bombshell over the weekend, a 48-hour ultimatum demanding Iran fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz to international shipping or face the obliteration of its power plants and energy infrastructure, starting with the biggest ones first. Okay, so he's not fooling around. He's going, you know what? You guys open that strait or else. And Iran didn't blink. They threatened to completely close the strait, target U.S. bases, Gulf desalination plants, and hit Israel harder. Fast forward to Monday. Trump flips the script. He announces very good and productive conversations with Iranian officials via envoys like Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. He orders the Department of War to postpone all strikes on Iran plants and energy sites for 5 full days. 5 days. Remember, Trump holds his cards close to his chest. He doesn't say what he's doing. He doesn't tip people off as to what's going on. Short of, when you start to see 5,000 soldiers appear, coming up to the area. What does that tell you what's happening? The clock started ticking on Monday, and now we're on day 2 as of this live. A deadline end of this week. Well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Deadline of this week. So we've got a couple more days. Thursday, Friday, when everything closes on Friday, because remember, he doesn't want to see oil blow up, because what will happen? You think the price of oil will jump up when boots hit the ground in Iran? I think that they probably will. Oil sitting right now at about $90 a barrel. What's Iran's response? Flat denial. State TV says no real talks happened. They rejected Trump's ceasefire plan outright and laid out 5 counter conditions: full sovereignty over home use, safeguards against future attacks, reparations, and more. They're still defiant while the war is now in its 4th week. It's raging. Israel hammering targets. Iran is firing back. Up to 3,000 U.S. paratroopers are heading to the region. And I've been watching what's happening and the alerts coming in from Israel. So there's still, it appears to be missiles coming from Iran targeting Israel here. Like as we speak, there's stuff like that going on. And you've got in darkness over there, and that's really when a lot of that stuff happens. So there you go. And my take on the whole thing, this is a classic Trump 4D chess. He talks tough, Markets freak out. Then he buys time for a deal. But Iran is calling bullshit on shows they're playing for the first time, are testing U.S. resolve. One mishap in Hormuz, the juggler of 20% of global oil, gets choked. Yeah, we're one tweet away from $200 oil. Yeah, so watch out for Trump. What's he going to do? Or all-out escalation. Chat, is Trump bluffing about to force the deal of the century? Drop your predictions below in the chat. We want to see what you have to say about this. It's chaos out there. Oil and gas chaos. Prices are spiking. Then they're crashing. They're going up. They're going down. They're going sideways. But you know what? You're the one that's feeling it in your wallet. Check your wallet. Do you still have any money in it? I don't know. We're running low. Yeah, the Iran drama sent oil prices into orbit, then slammed them back down. Pre-ultimatum Brent crude hit $114 a barrel. Oh my gosh, WTI over $100. Like unbelievable. It's been a long time since anything like that happened. It usually takes some kind of a war and some kind of a stranglehold. Oh man, there's a stranglehold on that oil. The oil's not getting through the Gulf right now. Nothing's moving. The ships aren't moving. You know, everyone is afraid. It's like insurance has gone up so much that Trump had to say, hey, you know what? We'll take over the insurance and we'll look after that for you. You know, like it's getting crazy out there. Iran's threats to shut the Hormuz and Goldman Sachs warning prices could stay sky high throughout 2027. Wow, that's a year from now. Yeah, because of some of the infrastructure that's been damaged in the Gulf there, that you're going to have a lack of oil supply on the world markets for a long time. You know, even if this is resolved here right now, prices will still stay high for a long time. U.S. gas averaged $3.94 a gallon, up nearly $1 since it started. Yeah, how much is gas right where you live? $3.94 is the average. I would imagine it's a lot higher than that in California, and maybe less than that in some places like Texas. I don't know. Then Trump's 5-day pause. Oil prices crashes 9 to 14% in just hours. WTI is now under $90. Stocks rebound. Markets breathe a sigh of relief. But the underlying disruption persists. Shipping is still hampered. Attacks continue. And analysts say that, I can't even talk here, any real closure could push Brent to $150. It could go up even more. Remember, this is live, unfiltered, and you're hearing it. So if I make any mistakes or whatever, feed you some bullshit or something like that, just take it for what it is, you know. But yeah, we're trying. Canada and Alberta. What about our angle up here from where I am? Global buyers are scrambling for stable, non-Middle East oil. Alberta's oil royalties are spiking massively. We're making lots of money. The oil companies in the United States are making lots of money. It's like buoyant. It's really good. But what about your shipping costs? Whatever. What about those extra oil or fuel taxes that they're adding on to everything that's being shipped? You're going to see these shipping companies have these riders where it's like, oh, you got to pay, $100 more for this shipment or something because of the price of diesel, you know, like all that stuff is going to be happening. Premier Danielle Smith in Alberta is loving it, but she's refusing gas tax relief because provincial taxes are already tiny, 13 cents a liter. That's it. What we need to do in Canada is to have our federal government get rid of the gouge and screw tax on gas, right? Because it's 5% on everything. And get rid of the federal tax. I don't know. I forget how much it is, but let's say 10 cents. Get rid of this carbon tax. They don't even call it a carbon tax anymore. It's some other bullshit name for it, but it's a carbon tax. It's because Carney wants to suck money out of you every time you buy something, and then he wants to send that money overseas somewhere to some World Bank where they're going to just flake it all over the place. We don't even know what's going to happen to it. But it's for saving the planet. We want to charge you more money to save the planet. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, the price of oil is high enough with all the rest of these bullshit taxes. What about this volatility is exactly what we need in North America, energy independence yesterday. Your grocery bill and your heating bill, your road trips are getting hammered while oil execs and Alberta producers cash in. Trump knows it. He's called a short-term supply pain. It's a pain. It's small price to pay for long-term peace. That's what it's all about. But if talks fail, by Friday, what's going to happen? Buckle up for $5 a gallon gas coming up here right away. Never mind your $3 and something a gallon. You're going to be paying $5 a gallon if something doesn't happen by Friday. Look for oil prices to shoot up even more. So, yeah, let's hear what happens. Now, what about this pipeline? Alberta wants a pipeline. The federal government doesn't want us to build a pipeline. We need that pipeline to the coast. We need it. We're able to produce the oil. We're able to sell the oil. There are multi-billion-dollar projects in Alberta that are basically put on hold, are being shelved because the federal government doesn't want a pipeline, because they want to save the planet. It's all about oil produces carbon, which enters the atmosphere, which is going to make us all die. We're all going to die because of the world using too much oil. It's all a bunch of bullshit, And now we're coming down to the point where we're seeing that, you know what? We're not all going to be driving electric vehicles. Some of us live in places where an electric vehicle just isn't practical. There's no charging station. There's no supercharger north of Edmonton here. If I was to go on some kind of a trip somewhere north, I'd be stranded in the middle of nowhere trying to plug my 110 volt plug-in at the gas station in order to charge up my electric vehicle. It's bullshit. Remember the November 2025 Canada-Alberta Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU on energy policy. Yeah, well, it's now front and center. Core pieces. Alberta commits to stricter industrial carbon pricing, massive oil sands carbon capture investment, which is all bullshit, as a prerequisite for a new major pipeline. We said that we were going to do it. It was all bullshit, but Alberta said, yeah, we'll do it because we need a pipeline. But what happened? Ottawa didn't do anything. Faster project approvals. That's what they promised us. Nothing happened. The deadline for finalizing details, which was April the 1st, 2026, is just days away. And so far, the federal government has done absolutely nothing other than they set up an office in Calgary it's an oil office to promote oil projects and stuff like that. But they've done absolutely nothing. The oil lobby is pushing back hard, calling it a grand bargain. They reject. Ottawa's under PM Carney is holding firm, but talks might drag past the deadline. Enter the Iran war. It's turbocharging the urgency. Premier Smith is using the crisis to demand faster pipeline approvals and more fossil fuel-friendly terms, but it's not happening. And meanwhile, Carney is burning jet fuel, jetting all over the world. Every 10 seconds, he's either in who knows where. Last it was Italy. He was in the UK, Italy. He was in the north there, Norway or somewhere there. He's like flying all over the place, spending or sending billions and billions and billions of tons of carbon into the atmosphere with all of his, well, I wouldn't say billions, but, I actually did a Grok thing on that to determine. It was like 150 whatever tons of carbon in the atmosphere, and that was like 6 months ago. So he's still being jetting around at this moment, and he's just burning fossil fuel like crazy and telling you and I to spend more money whenever you buy gas at the pump, and whenever you buy food, it's incorporated in the price of food. Food is like inflation is like gone completely out of the sky, and it's going to be even going up even further with the price of oil going up here now and shipping costs causing more. Now back to Air Canada and that whole drama, the deadly crash at LaGuardia and ongoing safety questions. The fresh tragedy hit Air Canada this week, Sunday night, March 23rd. Big thing that happened. You guys all saw that jet. The front of the jet is totally severed right off and hanging there. The jet is like on an angle like this up in the air with the whole fuselage just dangling off of the plane. The two pilots were killed unalived in that whole thing. And it was actually an actual terrible thing that happened. Two pilots were done in. 2 truck occupants were injured. The plane nose crushed on impact. Airport was shut for hours. There was one flight attendant who was still strapped into her chair that flew 100 meters, whatever that is, 350 feet outside of the plane, landed on the runway. Luckily, she wasn't injured badly. So, yeah, these things happen. It was like crazy. The plane nose was crushed on impact. Airport was shut down for hours. The NTSB preliminary findings, overlapping failures. ATC cleared the truck to cross. Possible comms breakdown. Black boxes are being pulled. Audio is captured on controller saying, "I messed up. He messed up." Yeah, he messed up all right. No doubt about that. The NTSB had to beg TSA to get investigators through security lines. Passenger videos show total chaos in the cabin. Yeah, the business of the NTSB had to beg TSA because the TSA hasn't been paid in quite a while, and apparently it's because of the Democrats holding up funding for airport people. Unbelievable. So blame the Democrats on that one. This comes amid a broader Air Canada scrutiny, delays, safety flags, even a recent fraudulent boarding incident that scrambled NORAD jets. Global instability isn't helping aviation supply chains. My take on this whole thing, the 2 pilots are unalive because someone had dropped the ball on the tarmac. Unacceptable. Air Canada and U.S. airports need accountability now. This isn't just a bad day. This is a pattern that's costing lives while we're already dealing with war-driven fuel price spikes. Thoughts, chat, what do you think about that? It's like crazy out there. I think that, like we hear about 2 or 3 major air crashes and people being unalived almost every year. Remember there was the one with the helicopters flying through the airspace of the airport where it was the airplane collided with the helicopter a few years back, and crashes and all kind of stuff happening all the time, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better, that's for sure. Okay, what about the Alberta oil patch and the boom, the pipeline push, Asian Middle East cash, Trump tensions? Alberta Premier Danielle Smith is all in on a new 1 million barrel a day crude pipeline to BC's northwest coast. We want to do it, but the companies that build pipelines are not going to do it when they know how much bullshit that they have to go through with all of these different environmental regulations. You've got the natives that are always saying, no, and they're being funded by the Tides Foundation, a U.S. organization that wants to keep oil in the ground, and they're the ones that are funding the natives that are going, yeah, close it down. It's craziness that's going on. Why now? The Iran war, Trump-era U.S. trade tensions, 90% of Canadians' oil still goes south. And our premier just announced at CERA Week in Houston that Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds and Asian investors are showing serious interest. So there are people that want to invest in a pipeline and get some more crude oil out of the ground in Alberta and get it through a pipeline down to the west coast over to places like China and whoever else might need some oil. We've got lots of oil. And keep in mind, we don't even have a frickin' pipeline across Canada. They don't want a pipeline. The Liberals go, no. And you got these Liberal provincial leaders that go, no, we don't want pipelines going through my province, whatever. So Eastern Canada actually gets their oil from the United States. They get the gas from refineries. We ship through pipelines from Alberta to refineries in the States, and then they, truck it, or however they get it, the oil and gas and diesel up into the eastern part of Canada from the refineries that are located in the United States. And where we do have a refinery in eastern Canada, they get their oil from the Middle East of all places. Meanwhile, we have a surplus of oil right here where I'm sitting, right in Alberta. You saw the pump jacks there. Like, the pump jacks are definitely out there. Like, check it out. They're right outside of where I live, and there's the oil sands. The oil sands are just north of where I live. I've been up to Fort McMurray. I've worked in Fort McMurray. I've seen the oil sands. I've seen how they operate, and where they were. The old way of doing the oil sands was to have these giant diggers dig it up, so it was like surface mining, right? So you surface mine, you put the dirt with has oil in it into a giant truck, and you truck it to a place where there's a conveyor belt, and then it goes on the conveyor belt into the building, and they extract the oil from the sand, from the dirt, and the leftover is put back onto the ground again. Well, they've gotten away from doing that, and now what they do is they use steam injection into the ground, where the steam separates the oil from the sand, from the dirt, and then they bring that oil up out of the ground. So you don't have this massive digging of the ground like they do with giant gold mines and stuff like that. But they do it just by drilling holes into the ground, and almost like fracking and stuff like that. Well, now they can drill down and then turn the drill bit to go sideways and drill a whole bunch of holes all over the place, put steam down there, and get that oil out of the ground. So yeah, it's definitely changed big time as how they actually get the oil out of the ground. No doubt about that. Yeah, well, anyways, we're doing that. We've got the next bit here, which is the Charles Veitch thing, where a good guy that I watch on let's see here. There we go. Oh, what happened to it here? Oh, my. We lost the whole thing here. My background is somehow not doing its thing here. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll leave this one up here. Looks okay anyways. Let me bring this in here where we have our... Let me see where it went to. Oh. RV. That might be it. No. Oh, okay. Let me just bring it up here. I have to go into the screen capture and find out what happened with Ratboy. Ratboy, where are you? How come you're not coming up? My thing is failing on me here for whatever reason, which is kind of weird. So I can't show you what I want to show you. Oh boy. So Ratboy is not in here. Where is Ratboy? Ratboy, where are you? My whole system is just gone to hell in a handbag here for whatever reason. I do these window captures and stuff like this, and at the moment here, just let me resize this and we'll get it going here for you. Okay, so this next little bit here comes from the UK, and like I say, what happened in the UK? Yeah, drill baby drill. Thanks a lot there, Daisy. Nice to see you in there. The next bit here is a guy by the name of Charles Veitch. That's the name of his channel. And Charles Veitch, he goes around in UK and he videos people all over the place. No, sometimes people come up to him, and he's so famous that people say, hey Charlie, all over wherever he goes. But he basically goes around and videos events, protests, but mostly he shows cities in the UK and what they look like. And he talks about the old buildings, what age the buildings are, and he's quite a knowledgeable fellow. So he's great to watch if you like finding out more about the UK. So look up Charles Veitch. As a matter of fact, I will drop the video that I'm watching here right now. I will drop the link in the chat so that you can actually maybe watch him and sub up to him, because he's actually a pretty good guy. Check this one out here. Appreciate that. And let's go to the video here right now. I'll just tell you a little bit, but shifting gears to a fan favorite wild card, Charles Veitch. VEITCH. He's a British YouTuber activist known for street rants and conspiracy-tinged commentary. He just dropped the multiple Iran War Edition videos, Brutalist Turd with glitter on top, and Too Much Free Speech. And he's actually being arrested for free speech. He had in one of his videos where he was doing a video, and he's doing it like, he was like maybe 100 feet away from some LGBTQ person, and he commented on how that person looked. You know, I don't know whether the person had purple hair or multicolored hair or whatever they were wearing, but he talked about that person, and that person complained to the police department. And of course, they've got police and they've got rules and legislation like we have coming in here in Canada, where you can't even say something about anybody without them being offended. Well, he apparently offended that LGBTQ person, and they called the police on Charlie. The police came to Charlie, they arrested him, and whatever, they gave him a court date, whatever, where he has to show up in court and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what happened to Charlie. So he's a little bit leery about talking or opening up his mouth. He calls it a vocal cord violation. And I may be getting one of those too because of the stuff that I talk about. It's like craziness that's going on out there. But anyways, this is the video that we have here about Charlie Veitch. And let's see. Oh, hang on. Maybe we can do a better one on this one here. Hang on. Do I have studio? Oh, that studio doesn't even have a background in there. Oh, well. Okay, but this is the bit here. And this is where Ratboy threatens him and spikes his cortisol. And he's in Newark, N-E-W-A-R-K, in the UK. And let's watch this bit here. Thank you very much for letting us use your feed, Mr. Charlie Veitch. And let's watch it here.
Sorry? Why? Sorry? What's the problem? Sorry?
Okay, so if you notice what was happening there, he's videoing the area. He's not even concentrating on this guy. You hardly even know that he's there because there's other people in the background that you can't even see. You couldn't even see this guy from where Charlie was. And this guy walks up on Charlie, and just watch what happens here.
Mate, I'm not your enemy.
I think you are.
No, dude, relax, dude. Chill.
Delete it.
Dude, chill. What's the problem?
Delete it.
What's the problem, dude?
You're getting putting pictures of me on YouTube.
No, I'm not. Dude, I didn't even know you were there.
Delete it.
Dude, I wasn't even filming
Delete
you.
it then.
Nah, mate, come on.
Delete
Chill.
it.
Take it easy.
I'll ring the police.
Please do.
I'll ring the police.
Please do.
I'll ring the police if you don't delete it.
Go ahead.
Delete it now.
Mate, why are you being like this? I'm just a British guy. I'm not your enemy.
You are, because you're videoing me.
Mate, you're literally threatening me, giving me demands to delete my video. I would suggest you relax, leave me alone. I'll go that way. You chill out with your mate, and we all just relax, yeah? Don't do anything dumb. I'm way bigger than you.
Do you think I give a flying fuck about how
Mate,
big you are?
relax,
The bigger
relax.
you are, the harder you fall.
Dude, do you want to go back to jail again?
I'll knock you spark out. You
Dude, we're on camera right now. Do you want to go back to jail?
Think you're fuck.
Mate,
I'll follow you.
my name's Charlie. What's your name?
Yeah.
What's your name?
My name, Jimmy Walker. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jimmy. I'm not your enemy.
You'll delete me off the thing then, mate.
Mate, this is how I support my kids.
I don't give a flying fuck how you support your kids. I support my people in a different way, and you're putting me on fingers, yeah? And that's inciting me.
I'm literally filming the square, and you come and...
Yeah, so
Anyway.
delete it and start again then, mate. It's not hard,
Mate,
is it?
Jimmy, you're not my boss. Jimmy, come on. You don't want to get arrested. We're on camera right now.
I'm not going to get
The
arrested.
police are watching us right now. You don't want to get
We're not
arrested.
going to be on camera forever, are we?
Jimmy, come on, man. Relax.
You've got to walk home some way.
Jimmy, are you threatening me? You're saying you're going to follow me? All right, mate. Take it easy, guys. The great famous Jimmy from Newark on Trent. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate it, dude. All the best.
Better find out where you live tonight.
You're going to find out where I live tonight? Jimmy, sorry, I left my drink over here. Sorry, guys. Left my drink. There's some unruly teenagers were getting a bit frothy with me. No one likes a threat, Jimmy. Jimmy, no one likes a threat. Take it easy, Jimmy. God bless you. May Jesus heal your heart and take you to higher places than threatening YouTubers in small town squares. Jimmy. Thank you for the content, Jimmy. It was a boring video without you. Spot on, mate. Thank you. Oh. Thank you, Jimmy. Right, where were we?
Yeah. So you can see that Charlie is, I think, visibly shaken by the threats. Nobody likes to get a threat from anybody on anything, but Charlie is visibly shaken with that whole bit there. And Jimmy, or that's not even his real name, so we find out, he puts a privacy complaint against that video against Charles Veitch and his channel, and and that's basically a privacy complaint is to get him to take the video down. So he apparently has a certain length of time to take that video down. Let's look at Charles Veitch's basic where he comes back at that whole thing, and let's hear what Charlie has to say about that in this next here. Hang on, I'll just bring it up here. Okay, so after that video happened, then today, and that was like a day or two ago when that happened, the privacy complaint comes in from from the dude that doesn't want to be videoed and says, I'm going to follow you home and do all this kind of crap. But then Charlie comes out with this, and he calls him Rat Boy. Rat Boy. So that's funnier than hell, too. But Charlie comes back with this video here on the whole event, which is
hello, everyone.
Kind of interesting.
Welcome to another Charlie Veitch channel. Thank you very much for all for watching my newer video where the small gentleman with the bum fluff on his face decided to enter the camera shot out of nowhere and threaten me and demand very aggressively that I delete the camera. And when I explained that this is what I do and that I wouldn't have noticed him, he then said he was going to hit me, smash me, and then follow me home. And I think someone said he was going to follow me as I exited his beautiful town, Newark. Now, so many people in Newark have written to me apologizing for his behavior. He said his name was Jimmy. On the Facebook Newark posts, people are saying his name is something else. They have tagged him, and it appears he has removed himself from Facebook. So I just want to say a warning to all other inner city scummy, beta, weak, nasty people who want to attack a YouTuber verbally, physically. Just think twice, because you might just end up making an absolute twat of yourself and become the laughing stock of the town and the surrounding county, and in my case, with my video, the whole world is laughing at you. So don't try and act the big man. Let's not descend to the level of dumb beasts. Anyway, this guy has got rather upset, and he has contacted YouTube and made a privacy complaint against my video, saying that I shouldn't have been doing it and that his privacy, his identity is compromised. Well, you do it to yourself, you do, and that's what really hurts. And so I ask YouTube, this is an open message to YouTube via all my followers, all my viewers, sorry, followers. What am I, the Messiah? I have no followers, I have viewers. I am a video maker, I am your humble narrator. And forgive the wind noise, we'll just wait for this wind gust to pass. My open message to YouTube is, as well, I believe this footage is in the public interest. You are my bosses, and it shows one of your humble video creators that makes the platform worth watching being attacked for no reason. I went to Newark to do a peaceful video, to praise the working man, to say hello to lots of people, and to rant about Islamo-commies, which I love doing. I love a good rant. And so I don't think his privacy complaint should be successful. People with bad behavior and perhaps criminal behavior, I think he did cross the line into criminal behavior with how he acted towards me, making threats, threatening to stalk and harass, threats of violence. You just can't do that in a civilized country. And for all of us who use our brains and our minds and try and elevate ourselves into the realm of spiritual beings, it's interesting from a safari, urban safari point of view, like a David Attenborough documentary, to see the more primal of us unable to control their impulses, threatening violence. And I don't think YouTube should delete that video, but I'm going to leave it to the gods. I'm going to leave it to the sun god. I'm going to leave it to Jesus Christ. I'm going to leave it to my bosses at YouTube to do the right thing. Now, if you can't do the right thing, if YouTube decides that me filming my humble video
I dropped his link.
is going to affect this young man's life, then they're going to do
he's a
what
guy
they're
that you
gonna
got to
do, but I
sub
believe
to.
it's going to affect
Absolutely
his life
sub
in a good
to.
way. It'll make him think twice before he sticks his snout, before he sticks his rodenty little snout into other people's business and makes himself the subject matter, makes himself the prime event, makes himself the content. And so I hope this video helps all other YouTubers, all other video makers, no matter what platform you're on. I mean, I am exclusive to YouTube. I love the guys. I love YouTube. It's the best platform there is. They treat me very well. I try and give them good content so that they get treated very well. And it's too late for Rodent Boy. It's too late. This is a big problem.
Rodent Boy.
A lot of my videos get copied, stolen, mirrored,
TikToked.
stolen again.
Oh.
onto
Like what I'm
TikTok,
doing right now.
Instagram, all these lesser platforms. Facebook. It's all over Facebook. But primarily TikTok. And so the Barbara Streisand effect comes
TikTok.
into effect. That which you wish to delete
I like that.
from the internet, you then fetishize. And instead of believing in the rolling wave, the non-stop avalanche of drama that eventually hides everything, all sins of the past. And all sins of the past should be forgiven because we are Christian, British people. We all make mistakes. But when you try and hide your mistakes, it comes back to, you know, it comes back on other platforms, stolen content. So I just wanted to do a quick one and say that we need to elevate ourselves above beasts. Whole fisticuffs, this whole fighting, this whole violence thing. That's for lesser human beings. That's for people who can't run normal societies. That's for people who can't create civilization. People who are now trying to destroy the West because for one reason or other, they think it's oppressive. They're like, oh, it's the West holding me back. It's capitalism holding me back. It's the Jews holding me back. It's the Americans, the Israelis, the British. No. We're very good for a reason. We're very successful for a reason, is that we're able to disconnect the primate overclocked chimpanzee graphics card brain from the fists, from the trigger finger, and we're able to think twice and say, would Jesus Christ be happy with me doing this? And if not, you probably shouldn't do it. So as I told young, we'll call him Jimmy. He introduced himself as Jimmy, but on the Facebook groups, they're calling him something else. Like I said to you in the Market Square in Newark, I hope you yourself are elevated by high forces to do something good with your life. Because you don't look happy, you look very sad. And to try and get your status, power, you're trying to assert dominance over your humble narrator. As I said, hey, I'm much bigger than you, and then you got very upset. And B, why? What are you going to achieve? Another prison sentence, young man? Another electronic tag on your ankle? Another 200 hours
like
of
DOA.
community service? And will it be worth it? No. I don't think those chavvy girls in Newark are going to be very impressed. You tried, you failed, you picked on the alpha male as a beta, and it all went wrong for you. So we're going to see now. I've got 48 hours to blur his face or take the video down. But I'm gonna, as I said, I'm gonna leave
I wouldn't
it to
do
the
it.
gods. I'm gonna leave it to my humble bosses at YouTube. They do.
You know,
If they
he doesn't have to do that. He's in a public place. He's just videoing the area, and some random dude comes up to him and says, erase your video. You know, take me off your video. I don't want to be part of the whole thing, whatever. And, you know, that's what happened. So it's not like Charlie was trying to make fun of somebody. You know, like you see these videos where somebody takes your face or your picture or your house or something and, you know, tries to dox you or something like that. He's out in public just doing a video, and some random guy walks up to him and says, yeah, delete that video or else I'll come and get you. You know, like, what the hell is that all about? If I was YouTube, I wouldn't do anything about that. You know, it's a privacy complaint, but hey, he was out in public, so he doesn't deserve any privacy. Nobody does when you're out in public. Final words from Charlie here.
they feel the video is not allowed, they'll pull
Not allowed.
they'll pull it.
Not
If
allowed.
they think that this is a learning lesson, this is a spiritual lesson for young Jimmy, then they'll leave it up. This is Charlie Veitch from the return of winter in England. It's cold again. It was snowing 10 minutes ago. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so
Hello,
that's
everyone. Welcome to another Charlie Veitch
hang on, I
channel.
went
Thank you
into
very much for all.
beginning again. Yeah, so that's Charlie Veitch, and the latest on Veitch is that he was charged with Section 4A, a public order offense in Manchester. Court date June the 30th, 2026. Bail conditions ban him from going to Manchester City Centre inside of the Ring Road, and he's still posting and touring. And my take, love him or hate him, Veitch calls out the establishment when everyone else is staying quiet. His Iran takes are raw. His takes on Muslims are pretty raw. In a world of a 5-day ultimatum and crashing oil prices, we need more unfiltered voices. So if you're a Veitch fan, hey, tell me in chat, should he be on my show? Should we bring him on here? Yeah, well, so far people don't come on my show, or if they do, they get banned or stuff like that. By the way, watch for my live coming up at 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern, where we're going to be doing a panel along with Spin City. So watch out for that coming up. We'll be looking forward to that whole thing happening. Well, that's the full rundown. Tommy Temper Nation, what do you think of that? Every piece connects. Trump's ultimatum, oil chaos, Alberta's pipeline, the MOU push, Air Canada's safety, and with the leader, the president of Air Canada, only giving condolences in English and not French. And the French police are pissed off about that in Canada, and also Quebec is pissed off about that. Oh, actually, we can bring you a few other things here before we finalize the broadcast here today. We're just getting started, but we're actually just about finished. But we'll bring you a few more things. We'll bring you some clips from our good friends on X. Just hang on a second, and I'll bring up this window here. First of all, we'll bring up the views from the Middle East. Here we see from Tel Aviv and places around Tel Aviv, where you can see, I don't know, looks like a little bit of snow. No, those might be bugs or something. Come on. That's what the camera looks like up here, up in Sylvan Lake or something, with snow flying in it. But that is maybe bugs or something on that one. But there were some visible strikes and stuff like that we can see happening. So and we were getting some alerts on our screen here as far as things over in Israel. So that's what the Middle East is looking like right at the moment. And let me bring up this other one here. See if I can bring up another window here. This is our window with our things that are happening in the Middle East. And if we look here, as I scroll up here, the ones in red are alerts. So you can see there are numerous alerts that are happening where the alerts happen and then they go green to things are back good again. But you can see since I've been live here, we've seen numerous alerts coming and going for the area in Israel. So their air raid sirens are going, and there's maybe drones or things like that coming in. Lots and lots of alerts and things like that happening for the whole Israel area. And it's looking kind of volatile in that area there. And let's see if I can bring up another window here. Let me see. Let me just switch one of these over here to my X, and then we'll go over a few things from X here. So just stand by. Stand by for more. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me just adjust this a little bit just so it looks half decent on this capture. Capture. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Alberta independence is the first thing that we'll go through here. There's going to be a debate coming up in May, and the debate is going to be with Jason Kenney on the left and Keith Wilson on the right. And Jason Kenney is the ex-premier of Alberta. And even though he was a provincial premier, he is a absolute federalist, and he doesn't want Alberta to separate from Canada. He does not want Alberta independence. Meanwhile, Keith Wilson is big on Alberta independence. He's coming up with podcasts and videos and all kind of stuff saying why and how Alberta should have independence, and that it's something that should happen, and that there is nothing out there that is separating Alberta from becoming independent. So we'll be watching that debate with bated breath, and maybe we might even have it on our broadcast here. That would be kind of fun to do that. So we'll be looking forward to that. We have Mark Carney coming out with his take on what he thinks about the Air Canada CEO, Michael Russo, delivering a video address only in English. And Mark Carney is extremely disappointed that it wasn't given in French and English, which, of course, if you say something in English on TV in Canada, you can have subtitles. You can have an interpreter interpret it. So people need to do more of that. But let's listen to what Mark Carney has to say about the fact that the message was delivered only in English.
We live, as I just said, in a bilingual country. We proudly live in a bilingual country.
Yeah. Well, Trudeau basically pushed bilingualism and all that kind of stuff right across Canada. I don't speak French. I don't speak French myself. I live in Alberta here, and in Alberta, we speak English. There are small enclaves, like in Edmonton here. There's a little enclave of French people. I could ride my bike over to where it is. And it's just a little district, where some French people live there. And there's a few French, stores, whatever, and there's a little French academy. And there's a few small towns, like in northern Alberta, there's a small town where it's lots of French people there. But by and large, other than Quebec and, some places like maybe Ottawa, everyone speaks English. Nobody speaks French. It's like nobody even learned French, even at school. The only reason that I even know any French at all is that there was an elective that I could take if I wanted to take, which was to learn French. There was a French class. Then I took, I think, a year of French class, and all I learned in that whole thing was voulez coucher avec moi? And, like, come on. Or fermez la bouche, or, whatever, some swear words or stuff like that. Other than that, I didn't learn any French at all. We're not French in Canada, but look even though we're not French, I mean, most of Canada is not French. Quebec, there are some people in Quebec that don't speak English, that live in whatever, out in the sticks somewhere. All they learned was French, and they don't bother to speak English at all. Okay, well, good enough for them. If they want to watch this, they can read the subtitles.
We live, as I just said, in a bilingual country. We proudly live in a bilingual country. And companies
yeah, we've got French on our soup cans. Okay.
like Air Canada particularly have a responsibility to always communicate in both official languages, regardless of the situation. I'm very disappointed in, as others are, rightly so, in this unilingual message of the CEO of Air Canada. It doesn't matter the circumstance, but particularly in these circumstances.
You know, you can be the CEO of any company in Canada. Oh my God. Just because you give a condolence in English and you neglected to give it in French, this is just, it's blown up so much up here in Canada, and I don't get it. It's just crybabies.
A lack of judgment, a lack of compassion. As you know, the Committee of Official Languages has summoned the CEO to appear before it. I will follow his comments closely, and comments which I would expect in due course from the Board of Directors.
Oh, jeez. You know, like, 2 pilots died. The fact is that he came out and gave condolences to the pilots that died. Likewise, that I did, and I am. And I'm sorry to see anybody die or get injured in anything. And it is absolutely atrocious. Like, what do you want? Do you want the United States to give a French message, you know, how they're sorry that it happened? Do you think that anybody in the States is going to speak French about all this stuff? Like, this is just petty. It is so frickin' petty that it just, it just irritates me to hear stuff like that. You know, it's like this as well. This next story here really irritates me to hear guys like this talk. And this is a Muslim man. And you know, like, maybe I'll get sent to jail, you know, like, for talking about Muslim people and stuff like that. I love people from everywhere. I love Muslim people. I love Christian people. I love Chinese people. It doesn't matter what country you're from or what religion you're from. It doesn't matter. I'm not a prejudiced person. I try and like, you guys know that on my show, on the Tommy Temper Show here, I try and like everyone. But then you get guys like this that come up, and listen to what he's saying here. Just listen close to this whole thing. And a lot of this, I seem to be getting a lot of stuff like this on my what do you call it? My X coming up here. I don't know why, but it's popping up here all the time. But listen to what a Muslim man in the UK, what he says. It's pretty disturbing, and it's a disturbing claim about rejecting coexistence in being able to live with you and I and everybody else out here. We aren't here to coexist. We've been sent here to dominate and wipe you out.
We don't say Islam is here to live, you know, to coexist with lots of different religions, and all of us can just hold hands and be friends. This religion has been sent to dominate, to wipe out, to take out every other religion, to have the people leave every religion and to accept Islam. And if that requires fighting to achieve it, then it requires fighting to achieve it. Because the greatest purpose for which jihad was legislated is to make the word of Allah the highest and the word of those who disbelieve the lowest, even if the disbelievers hate it. But we're not shy to say it, and we don't find that to be something that we should be shy to say.
Yeah. Okay. Take over the world. You've heard it. You've heard it before. That's not the first time that you're hearing it. And it's like, for that reason, all I can say is, why are we letting all these people into our country when they were, you know, in days gone by, people fought wars over this kind of stuff, religious wars, right? And, you know, the Christians won different territories, the Muslim won different territories, but now you've gotten to the point where you're saying, Oh, come on in. You guys, just come on in here. And then these guys say stuff like that. Now, it's absolute stupidity to where we're at here right now. And of course, everyone's going to say, wow, yeah, but this guy is a Muslim extremist or whatever. He's not the ordinary guy. But is he? Is he not? Are they? Are they not? Like, what's going on out there? Like, are we being taken over? Like, look at what's happened to Iran, of all places. Iran was taken over by the Islamists, okay? And they want to get rid of that. They want to get rid of Sharia law. They want to get rid of the burqa, and they want to live like normal Christian lives. Okay, that's what Persians actually want. You've heard me say that here before. In fact, even the term Islam, let's actually ask our bot here what Islam is and see what the reason or what the whole thing is here. Hang on. Maybe I can, let me try my Bluetooth again here and see if I can hook it up to my Rodecaster Pro here, my phone, so that you can hear this. And we can bring up Grok and just hear what's going on here. Hang on. Grok, where are you? Grok, can you hear me? Hello, Grok.
Hey, Tommy, what's up?
What is the definition of Islam?
Hang on, what part of Islam? You kind of trailed off there.
Okay, well, what does it mean? What's the dictionary definition of Islam?
Got it. Quick dictionary dive coming up. Islam? Straight up, it means submission, as in total surrender.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Submission. Okay, so let's just leave with that. Hang on, we'll stop it. So just in case you didn't know, Islam means submission. That's what what its literal dictionary definition is. Herman, over in the UK, are you looking for submission? Do you want submission? Is that what you want? Is that the religion that you want, where you're going to be submissive, like right off the bat? You can't do much about that. It's not a good situation. So just keep that in mind whenever you're talking about Islam. And people call Islamophobia. Okay? If you don't want to be submissive, then you are somehow perpetrating Islamophobia. Like, the whole thing is just ridiculous. Like, I don't want to be submissive to anybody or anything. There are certain rules that we follow, right? There are certain bylaws and laws and things like that. You know, we don't speed in our car. We don't illegally cross the road or things like that. If you want to call that being submissive, yeah, well, those are the rules. And, you know, to some degree, we have to follow rules in order for everything to run smoothly. But I'm not going to be submissive to any kind of a religion whatsoever. I don't care what anybody says. And, you know, there's no two ways about that. So as far as that whole thing goes, I don't want to have anything to do with it at all. Next bit in here is the breaking. Protests have erupted at multiple locations across Edinburgh. This is in England, okay? And this is not a good situation here. Let's just hear what is going on over in England. And remember, what happens in England today happens in North America tomorrow. So let's watch this little story here with crowds marching through the streets, waving Scottish and British flags, with chanting, "Sink the boats, sink the boats." These guys are all going to go to jail for doing stuff like that, honestly. Like, your rules over there, don't allowed, not allowed in England. Sink the boats. Scots are demanding the removal of all illegal immigrants. Yeah, so lots of unrest over in the UK. And you've got that new party that has surfaced over in the UK. I forget the name of the party, but it's British something. In the chat will let us know the name of that new party. But it's probably going big time. And people are saying, oh, well, that's an extreme right party, whatever, because they don't like the immigrants and this kind of stuff, you know. But, you know, when the whole fabric of your country changes and your country is no longer what it was because of what the politicians are doing with mass immigration, and we're having exactly the same problem here in Canada with absolute mass immigration. Like, it is gone to the point where it is absolutely crazy. Honestly. Really, it's craziness. Yeah. It's bad. What the hell is happening in Canada here? It's like, oh my God.
Fucking ringing bastard. Listen now, you bloody phony telephone fucking ring. Bloody I'll pick your fucking
Oh
phone
man,
up, you
it's
bastard,
gotten to the point
motherfucking
where it's
cunt, you
terrible.
Bloody telephone, a bloody fucking ring bastard. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. I'm fucking telling you, fucking sick and tired of this bloody fucking phone. I'm telling you, motherfucker, you pick
I
the
know,
fucking phone
it's
up, you
terrible.
bloody
Absolutely terrible. Okay, getting back on that Air Canada story here. Here's Jolie, Melanie Jolie. She criticizes Air Canada's CEO for issuing a statement in only English and not French. Like, this has gotten to the point where it's absolutely ridiculous. Where what do? They tell everyone in government, in all the liberals, get on there and you know, blast the CEO of Air Canada for giving condolences and only in English. Come on.
But when it comes also to the fact that the president of Air Canada didn't speak French at the time where we know that a lot of the victims and their families are francophone, knowing also that Air Canada has duties, obligations under the Official Languages Act, I just thought it showed a lack of empathy and a lack of sensitivity. And in that sense, I think it's a question of moral leadership. And I think that in those circumstances,
She sounds
the
French.
president of Air Canada needs to show that he understood the message and that he needs to make sure that himself and also the entire company abides by its obligation under the act.
Yeah, and of course the name of the company is Air Canada. So, you know, like, what would you expect a company like that to have a statement by the leader of a company called Air Canada? Yeah, I'll give the statement in French. Fermez la bouche. Yeah, exactly. No, but you know, like, come on, it's so petty for all of these politicians to come up and try and chastise the head, of course, and then you've got this dude here, which is like, nobody likes him anyways, who's I think the leader of some kind of a separatist party in Quebec. Well, I'm kind of a separatist here in yeah, the Bloc leader. They call it the Bloc, and his name is Blanchette. He's calling on the Carney Liberals to pressure the Air Canada board to fire the CEO of all things. Like, come on. The reason? An English-only response after the LaGuardia crash. Of everything happening in Canada and Quebec right now, is this some kind of a priority? Like, come on, people, come on.
The board of Air Canada should act on it. The government should put all necessary pressure on the board for them to make the only right decision in this situation, and it's to make sure that he leaves.
Why is that so important? Why do you think it's so important for him not to be there?
There's a limit to the number of insults that one is supposed to stand before making a decision. The board of Air Canada.
Oh, like, come on. Come on. they're gonna now fire the guy because he didn't give a statement in French. Like, Carney stands up all the time. He can barely speak French, and whenever. Get this. If you notice Carney and you follow him a lot, which I do, I watch a lot of his statements and that, it's like whenever he doesn't want to say something to the majority of Canada, he switches to French and he speaks a little, he says it in French, and then he switches back, says very little in French, but just something that he doesn't want us English people to hear or to understand. And then he goes back to English. Most of his stuff is in English. Very little of what the leader of our country says is actually in French. So who the hell is even Carney and these guys to be? This guy, of course, is a Quebecer, so he's like French only. And of course, in Quebec, you have to have signs on your buildings that are in French, not in English, right? Even if you go, and I've said this before, that they have something called the language police in Quebec. And even if, let's say you own a store, and in the back of your store, you have labels on your circuit breakers, and they're in English, the language police, if they see that, they'll make you change those stickers, those little labels on your breakers, on your electrical breakers, so that they're in French. Like, that's how anal these guys are about French in Canada. It's like, it's absurd, absolutely absurd. And of course, the Alberta separation here, let's go on with that. Did you sign for Alberta separation? I hope you did. I hope you signed it. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Alberta separation. Independence. Let's go. The haters call it separation all the time. They will never say the word independence, but us that are for Alberta independence, yeah, we signed. I signed. In fact, I signed along with Pat King from the Convoy. Remember Pat King there, Sandy? You probably have heard his name before. Yeah, well, Pat King actually held my cell phone and videoed me signing when I signed, and I videoed Pat King signing there. So there you go. For those of you that hate the Convoy and hate anything that's right-wing whatsoever, oh well, there you go. And we've got this just in from Donald Trump. Donald Trump says, on a second thought, after watching Canadians see their country getting much worse than under Trudeau and increasing their support for Carney, I'm no longer interested in having Canada as the 51st state. Oh my gosh. Can you believe that he would say something like that? That's Donald Trump saying that. Oh, we don't need that liberal cancer in America. Yeah, I know. It's the same as the Democrats in the States. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald Trump. So there you go. He's like, he's washing his hands of anything to do with Canada and the 51st state. He actually helped Carney get into power, and now he sees how bad that is and sees how liberal that Canada is, and he's going, ha! That's why he'd rather have Alberta be the 51st state and us breaking away from Canada and joining up with the United States. Now, nobody's saying that that's going to happen. I'm not a proponent of Alberta being the 51st state, but I am absolutely a proponent of Alberta breaking away from Canada and becoming its own entity, sovereign Alberta. Okay, this is absolutely what we need, and we're looking forward to that actually happening. We're all voting for stuff like that happening, so there you go. Okay, over in Russia, the Ukrainians have attacked terminals at ports up near in the northern part, northwestern part of Russia. And they're attacking ports there where they're able to load up oil and bring those onto market. And they're hurting Russia, which, again, is not helping the price of oil. Of course, no one's able to buy oil from Russia. Or did Trump actually come up with a different plan for that now where he's relieving those embargoes on Russia and allowing them to bring a little bit of oil onto the market because there's no oil coming from the Middle East, so somebody's got to do something. So Trump is kind of backpedaling on that one a little bit. You've got this story coming out of Calgary. You've got the old mayor of Calgary, which is Gondek on your right, the lady, Gondek, Jody Gondek is her name. The much aligned mayor of Calgary. She did a real lousy job, a crappy job, whatever, and she lost her position. She was voted out. But the breaking news out of Calgary is the RCMP have executed a search warrant and seized the phone of former Calgary Mayor Jody Gondek. They had a search warrant on her home, went in there and looked at a whole bunch of stuff. She's a daughter of former World Sikh Organization board member. And part of as a corruption investigation. So yeah, these people, like, I don't trust any of them. And just look at this, what's going on here in Canada. And they get into political positions, then they do all kind of stuff that ends up getting them in trouble with the law. And the government is not even saying why they are investigating her. What was the corruption that happened? It was her, and also they did a search warrant on another guy that was part of the city council in Calgary. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, and this bit here is about immigration, with mass immigration. And this is the immigration minister in Canada. Let's hear what she has to say about the mass immigration in Canada.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians elected this government last year because they know that this government has a plan.
Oh yeah.
Our plan has results. It is not based on a script as they do on the other side. Over the last year, we've reduced temporary residents by more than half. We've upped the asylum numbers by more than a third. We've refocused economic immigration like never before it's been done. Canadians can see that this government is focused and has a plan. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, it's like you overload the whole system with literally millions and millions of immigrants into Canada, and you're pulling back just a little bit. You're pulling back a little bit, right? Things are changing, but it certainly hasn't changed when I walk out my door and when I see what's going on when I go to the Costco store or go to the Walmart store. It's like, this is not the Canada that I remember 20 years ago. It is like completely different. And then they've got all of these foreign students. They let all the foreign students into Canada, right? Here's the latest one, is that they have temporary visas, right? But they never check on whether or not when the visa expires that the person actually leaves Canada. So they have this inquiry going on, and they discovered that there were 40,000 that they brought in on temporary visas, right? Foreign students, and 20,000 of them actually left Canada. But actually it was out of the 40,000, 40% of them left Canada. So 60% of them are unaccounted for. They don't know where they are. They don't have any record of them leaving Canada, so they have to be somewhere within Canada. And there's a whole bunch of fraud that went on, cases of fraud, literally 150,000 cases of fraud that have gone on, but the government isn't even going in. Out of those 40,000, I think 150,000 fraud cases, they've only come up with about 3,000 that they can figure out that something has happened with them. And the others, they don't even have enough manpower to find out what's going on. There's so much fraud. There's so much mass immigration going on. And it's like, oh, we cut back just a little bit. No, you should get it. There's so many people here already. You need to cut it down to zero, and you need to start finding who these people are that are here illegal, all of these illegal immigrants. Because if you come into Canada on a student visa or some kind of a visitor visa or something like that, and then you don't leave Canada, then you're now an illegal immigrant, and you should be found. They should find out where you are, where you're working underground, and let's do it, you know. And this guy here, he's like, what's going on with these guys here? These guys are so much into their jobs, and it's like, my job is more important than anything. This is coming out of Australia, where this dude here comes up and says all women need to wear a hijab to show solidarity with their Muslim sisters. He's the so-called president of Australia. I don't even know what his name is there, but holy cow, you guys in Australia are absolutely screwed with stuff like that. And Carney in Canada, He says Muslim values are Canadian values. Yeah, right. I don't think so. I really don't think so. They're not any kind of values like me at all. And then there's this one here where they've even gone over to places. This is an actual, this is not fake, by the way. This is not fake. This is real. Where, holy shit, somebody set up a pop-up signing for the Alberta independence in front of the Great Pyramids of Giza and got people to sign up. They're actually Albertans over there signing up. Alberta independence is the only path forward, Sandy Foster. Alberta independence will happen, and you Easterners out there are crying in your milk, you know, going, no, no, no. Oh, we hate you. We hate you, Tommy Temper. We hate your independence people. Alberta is not going to be independent, and yeah, you're gonna have to pay for all that debt of Carney. Carney's spending billions and billions and billions. Every time he comes on the TV cameras there, he's spending billions for his buddies at Brookfield there, and you guys are going to be paying for it. We're not going to be paying for it because we're going to be bye-bye Canada and all your billions of debt. You know, I forget what the number is now. When you're born in Canada at this moment in time, like you're saddled with, I think, something like $10,000 debt, you know, and you haven't even worked a day in your life, and you're just born. Like that's how much debt each Canadian is saddled with all this crap. Unbelievable what's going on. Yeah, I'm not making any of this crap up, other Cat. There you go. Yeah, I'm crying for you, Sandy Foster. And you too, Cat. Same thing with you. Come on, living in mom's basement there. Holy jeez. Okay, what else is there? Oh, we got more on this plane crash thing here, but I think we've heard enough of that. Okay, here's another one here. This is a good one here. This lady here is, she's Muslim. You can tell by the way she's dressed. And she is in the military. She's in the American military, of all things, right? And she might have to go to war. She might have to be boots on the ground against the Islamic regime. You know, this is how crazy it's getting here now. You got Muslims in the military, right, like her, and they're, you know, part of the American military. And is she going to be sent over to fight in Iran against the Islamic regime? Let's hear what her take is on this whole thing. Yeah, this is how it's going to happen down in the States. Pete Hegseth, if this woman hasn't been kicked out of the United States military, can you please do so as soon as possible?
No politics, but would you refuse a command if it's set towards Muslims?
Okay, let's hear that again.
No politics, but would you refuse a command if it's set towards Muslims?
So what she's going to do, if you didn't get that, is refuse a command because she's Muslim, and the command would be go and fight the Muslims. So you know what? She doesn't want to fight her own kind if she ever does go to war, and she's in the military in the States. Now, how does this shit happen? And what exactly is going to happen? Like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't get any worse than that. And then in Alberta, you've got this, in Alberta, there's this thing called the Pathways Project, okay? Now, what the Pathways Project is all about is sequestering carbon, okay? It's, in other words, they're forcing the companies here in Alberta, the oil companies, to take their money and to put it towards building an organization, right, which is called the Pathways Project, which is going to pull carbon out of the air, just like a tree does, right? You could plant 1 million trees too, and it'll do the same thing. But no, you're going to spend billions of dollars on a project, the Pathways Project, to pull carbon out of the air and then drill a hole in the ground and then feed that carbon into the ground, which of course causes problems when you start to do something like that. You know, like, you don't think it's going to cause problems? It absolutely will. If you think that fracking doesn't do things to the earth. Well, think what this does here. But let's hear what the energy czar has to say about this.
No to lifting the tanker ban on the West Coast, and no to Pathways carbon capture.
So a little note about Pathways. I was doing some digging around the Pathways project. This is one that Mark Carney's invested in, Canadian Natural Resources, ConocoPhillips, and ExxonMobil. So these are all direct conflicts of interest already, but this gets even worse. So digging around on the leadership page, we scroll down and who do we have here? Derek Evans. Now, if you remember this video talking about Michael Evans, Mark Evans, I mean, it could just be coincidence, same last name, very common last name. I'm not speculating these guys might be related or cousins, but it did spur looking into this. And what I found looking into Derek Evans here is very interesting. Looking at his own profile, he's a executive chair of Pathways Project. So basically the top here, Derek's main responsibilities are providing strategic leadership to the executive team and steering committee, leading high-level external stakeholder engagement, including collaborations with the federal and provincial governments, providing and supporting the strategic execution of Pathways Alliance initiatives. So he's the direct contact to Mark Carney and essentially Tim Hodgson. He is the point person. And if we look further down, what do we get? Prior to joining Pathways Alliance, Derek was the president and CEO of Meg Energy. And right away, my jaw hit the floor because Tim Hodgson here was on the board of none other than Meg Energy. These guys know each other. The CEO and a board member, of course they know each other. He goes over to Pathways Project, Tim Hodgson, the direct connection there. They're getting their people in all the different places here. So I've got it all listed out, Derek Evans here. As we saw in the Pathways project over here, I also snipped this one here, which has some of the timelines. So he worked on Meg Energy from August 2018 to May 2024 as president and CEO. It goes on to talk about other things, director, Pengrowth Energy, etc., etc. But if we look at the timelines here, we have this one from Wikipedia. This is Tim Hodgson's Wikipedia page, and down here it says Meg Energy right there. So Hodgson served as board member for Calgary-based oil sands producer Meg Energy from 2016 to 2019. So if we overlap these, what we get is this. So Tim Hodgson, 2016 to 2019, Derek Evans, 2018 to 2024. There's 2 years of overlap. These guys know each other. They work together with each other. Guaranteed, because Tim Hodgson, a board member, and Derek Evans here, CEO of Meg Energy, and now suddenly Derek Evans is the top guy at the Pathways project. The point of contact to Tim Hodgson and Mark Carney. Mark Carney rolling out his green grift. It's a little too convenient. So as I said, Mark Carney is getting his people in positions of power all over the spectrum here to roll out his grift. And this is just another shining example of exactly that.
Okay. Yeah. So Moose on the Loose is the channel. You got to watch him on, you guys over in the east there, like Sandy, you got to subscribe to Moose on the Loose. And you have to watch all of his connections there between what's going on between all these political players, Mark Carney, and the companies that he's involved with, and all the money and all the corporate grift that's going on. Okay, between the Canadian government, it's an absolute grift for companies that they're involved in, and they're doing all kind of stuff like this Pathways thing is absolutely enriching people that own shares in those companies. That's why they're doing it, to enrich themselves. You know, go and buy, if you want to get rich in Canada, buy shares in Brookfield. Absolutely buy shares in Brookfield. Okay, we got this guy here. If you've never heard of him at all, he's one of the big guys in the Alberta independence movement, and he's known as Jeffrey Rath. And he was giving an interview here on March the 24th, and he shared his thoughts on how quickly this process could happen. This is pretty exciting on what's happening with independence in Alberta. Let's listen to Jeffrey Rath here for half a second. Okay, this is for you, Sandy, and Academus Rex, and those of you in Eastern Canada.
Alberta, if Alberta leaves, or when Alberta leaves, we're doing the rest of the country a favor. Yes. Because the way the amending formula is now set up, right, the Constitution is virtually unamendable. But the Supreme Court has said clearly in the secession reference that if a province wants to leave, right, the rest of the country has to negotiate in good faith. And if they don't negotiate in good faith, it then opens the door to the province to unilaterally declare independence, right? Which, you know, I suspect is the route we're going to end up having to go down.
Yeah. And if Alberta, oops, hang on here, I accidentally pushed the wrong button there. If Alberta does leave Canada And if the rest of Canada says, no, you can't do that, well, then we're just going to leave anyway, and it's going to be bye-bye, and we'll get the blessing from the United States, because the United States will absolutely say to Canada, yeah, no problem at all with you leaving and becoming an independent country. And in fact, the United States will support our independence. We don't need to become the 51st state either. So don't think that anything like that is going to happen. If it does happen, it will be because the people of Alberta voted for it to actually happen. So we'll be looking forward to that, okay? Before anything happens with us being part of the United States, there will be a vote, and we'll let the people of Canada decide that. Let's listen to this again and listen to the end of it.
Yes, because the way the amending formula is now set up, right, the Constitution is virtually unamendable. But the Supreme Court has said clearly in the secession reference that if a province wants to leave, right, the rest of the country has to negotiate in good faith. And if they don't negotiate in good faith, it then opens the door to the province to unilaterally declare independence, right? Which, you know, I suspect is the route we're going to end up having to go down, because I do not expect the Carney Liberals or any Liberal government in Ottawa to negotiate in good faith, right, with regard to Alberta leaving Canada.
That's right.
Referendum. Yeah. So, you know, we're on a path, right? So, you know, it's interesting.
Okay, so one more question. You actually just made me think about this. So, if they don't negotiate in good faith, what's the timeline look like? Do we say that there's a certain amount of time? It's 3 months.
Yeah, I would say
does that look like?
Yeah, 3 to 6 months. I mean, why? You know, this isn't gonna, for me, it shouldn't be a multi-year process.
Sure.
You know, it's like, this is, you know, here's our proposal. You
Rip
give
the
us,
Band-Aid off, right?
Yeah, you give us our proposal.
Yeah.
We'll decide whether you're being reasonable about this. We have no intention of delaying. We have no intention of engaging in, you know, multi-year litigation with you over any of this stuff.
Right.
We don't want any of this litigated by Canadian courts. My view is that, you know, that this now, given the bias of, Canadian judges towards Canada, it should be, any disputes should be arbitrated by, the Court of International Arbitration in The Hague or some international body that, that doesn't have a dog in the hunt, right? Yeah. But I guess all of that remains to be seen. But from my perspective, we need to get this done, sooner rather than later. And I think people are going to be shocked at the speed with which Alberta is going to leave Canada. Because I don't think, if when a majority of Albertans turn out to vote ourselves out of Canada, we're not going to be tolerating a government in Edmonton that isn't prepared to roll up their sleeves and get us out of Canada sooner rather than.
There you go. There you go. If Canada says no, then we take it to, because of all the liberal judges, if they go, oh no, we'll have to take this to a court where we know that 9 out of 10 judges are liberal. We know that the judges in Canada are all liberal. We'll take it to The Hague, to some kind of an international court, okay, and come up with something there. Oh, hang on. Let me turn this a little bit here. We're running a Shure microphone, D104 microphone here. Yeah, you can see that it's something that could potentially happen. We're going to become independent. Guys like me are sick and tired of Carney, sick and tired of the Liberals, sick and tired of getting taken advantage of by Eastern Canada, by Ottawa, as we call it, by the colonial government in Canada. Queenie, you'll like that one. Yeah, we're even guys like I are sick of this colonialism that's being put on us. We're all being taken advantage of it, and we're sick and tired of it. So no, Sandy Foster, you get used to it. You're hearing it. You're not liking it. You're going, oh no, we want Alberta's money over here in Ontario, and we need it in Quebec. We need your money more than you need your money. No, that's not the way it works. The way it works is we're sick and tired of getting taken advantage of by you guys in Eastern Canada, and we're going to do whatever we want to do, okay? Because now the shit has hit the fan, okay? And times have changed. Times have absolutely changed. Yeah. Oh, and you know what Queenie, this one's for you here. You know what the East Indians are saying? You've got, and this is another thing, that Ottawa brings in mass immigration. For what? What? Why are they doing that? You know, like, what's the reason? They haven't even said what the reason is for bringing in mass immigration. And, you know, you guys are going, well, there's nothing wrong with mass immigration. We're just sitting here getting, like, overpopulated by East Indians at the moment right now. A lot of East Indians are coming into Canada here now. Okay, what do the East Indians have to say about coming to Canada? Let's find out. Let's read what they have to say. This is Devanish Gupta. Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Ottawa, we appreciate what you've done to Canada, but what are the East Indians actually saying? Oh, wait a few more decades. East Indians will have more population than Canadians in Canada, and then we will throw these Canadians out of their own land. What do you think about that, Sandy Foster? Huh? What do you think? He's talking about you who's like, oh, we don't mind this. We don't mind all the excessive immigration that's going on. And I'm not making this shit up at all. You guys think that that I'm somehow looking for this stuff on the internet. I'm not looking for anything on the internet at all. It's just coming in my window here as I'm sitting here bullshitting to you guys, okay? And meanwhile, Israel is burning with this whole thing. Oh my God, they probably didn't figure that something like this would happen. But with them attacking Iran and the United States hitting Iran, Iran is fighting back, and basically things are burning in Israel. And as you can see here, things are not looking good. Not looking good at all. We need to stop that war. Absolutely stop that war. Here's another shot from Israel. Check this out here. Not looking good. The bombs are going off. The Iron Shield is not eliminating all of those missiles and drones and things like that that are coming from Iran. And things are going up in smoke, exploding, and all kind of stuff like that. So yeah, she's looking terrible out there in the real world. Hate to tell you stuff like that, but things are happening. And of course, the largest LNG plant in the world is in Qatar, and things are not looking good for that plant in Qatar either. Things are blowing up all over. And this is a gas plant, LNG, which supplies probably LNG to Europe and places like that where they need LNG to heat their homes in winter and stuff like that. And with this plant being on fire, you're going to see, of course, prices have spiked for LNG all across the world, along with gas and oil and fuels and things like that. So things are not looking good at all. We need to watch what's going on, bring this whole thing to a basic standstill, and stop the war, stop the fighting. Iran offered to give away all of its enriched uranium. This is a story that you may not have heard, but this happened just before Trump attacked Iran. Iran offered to give away all of its enriched uranium during peace talks in Geneva. The British thought it was a credible offer. Hours later, Trump started bombing Iran anyway. The U.S. didn't want peace. They wanted war. No, I don't know about that, but they definitely wanted to get rid of the threat of the Islamic regime to everybody in the Middle East.
David? And there was one development yesterday. It builds on reporting MS Now had earlier. Iran offered to give away all of its enriched uranium during the peace talks. And hours later, the U.S. started dropping bombs. And The Guardian broke yesterday that there were British officials. The British National Security Advisor was present in Geneva during that last round of talks. The British were surprised by the Iranian offer. They thought it was credible. They thought the talks should continue. And the British were shocked when the Trump administration started bombing Iran hours later. David? And there was one development that builds on reporting.
So there you go. You hear the story from the newscasters there on that one. And not a good situation. It was something that could have been prevented. The whole war could have been prevented if Iran were to have given up their nuclear products that they're working on. But as it happens, they didn't do that. Didn't happen. Did not happen. And but even if they would have done that, it still wouldn't have gotten rid of the Islamic regime, which the people in Iran, the Persian people that are being oppressed, wouldn't have liked that situation, because the Islamic regime would still be in existence. So the reality is, the Islamic regime has to be gotten rid of, and that would probably be a better situation for what's going on. Okay, so we are going to be on later with a panel. We're going to be co-hosting with our good friend Spin City from Florida, and we're going to be talking about Canadian views as opposed to American views on world matters. So look forward to that happening, and yeah. The rest is history. Thanks a lot for watching the Tommy Temper Show. I'm Tommy Temper. We are the dude. We're having fun, and I hope you're having fun too. It's something that we like to do, and I like to, rather than doing these long 8-hour type of broadcasts where where everything kind of goes slowly downhill over time, and we don't get that many people watching. And the whole idea here is to get the few people watching when we're live, but to get more people watching the show when we're not live. But this is you. The show is all about you. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. And yeah, we like to have fun. Let's all have fun, everyone. Take care. Stay out of trouble.
Hey, baddies,
let's do it. Okay, thanks for watching the Tommy Temper Show. I'm Tommy Temper, and you're the star of the show.
Out in Alberta where the Rockies rise, Tommy Temper streaming with fire in his eyes, from a lake house glowing in the moonlight's gleam. He's the YouTube king of the widest streams. Oh, Tommy Temper, you're a great guy, battling trolls with a spark in your eye. Conspiracy theories, politics and fun, streaming from the Rockies, you're second to none. Hot tub bubbling under starlit skies, he's calling out the haters with truth in his lines, talking about the world from left to the right. He's got the mic, keeping it tight. Oh, Tommy Temper, you're a great guy, battling trolls with a spark in your eye. Conspiracy theories, politics and fun, streaming from the Rockies, you're second to none. Lake house vibes where the mountains meet the stream. He's dodging all the trolls like a champion dream. From Alberta's heart, he's lighting up the night. Tommy Temper's truth is his guiding light. With a wink and a grin, he's taking on the fight, spilling all the tea in the YouTube light. From the hot tub to the Rockies, he's living it free. Tommy Temper's the streamer we all want to see. Oh, Tommy Temper, you're a great guy, battling trolls with a spark in your eye. Conspiracy theories, politics and fun, streaming from the Rockies, you're second to none. So raise a glass to Tommy, the legend of the land. From Alberta, Lake House, he's taking a stand. With the Rockies watching and the hot tub steaming, Tommy Temper's the hero of YouTube dreaming. She's streaming Tommy Temper, Alberta's pride.
Oh